Good morning, everybody. I welcome you on behalf of the European Commission in the parallel session number 3, which is about building a community of practice for and with the users of the cloud, expectations and challenges. I'm a policy officer at the European Commission and will be moderating this session. Our proposal comes to the level of commitment for a community of practice today. We will have 3 presentations, 3 testimonials at this session, and we'll be able to exchange mainly via Slido until 5 past 12. So it's a quite short session, but I'm convinced it will be very rich. We will have ice-breaking questions, so I would like this question to be open for the answers now. In that way, we will know what is the public and in which type of cultural heritage institutions work our participants. We would like, through the cloud, to make the cultural heritage professionals to address the challenges also related to disparities in expertise, equipment and infrastructures, but also in digital skills. The Commission aims to reinforce the collaboration between large and small institutions for their mutual interest. Smaller museums and other bodies will reach a greater opportunity to share their resources, preserve heritage objects under their care, and gain a larger audience. For the bigger institutions, the cloud presents high interest and opens them to new collections and communities, in particular at the local level. This collaboration is key in this flagship project. Speakers invited to this session will give us concrete examples in digitization of different kinds of cultural heritage assets. Before I introduce the speakers, I would like to see the results of our first question, if it's possible. So I hope we will share. Yes, the participants are mainly from universities and research centers, but we have 27% of cultural heritage institutions participants, also private companies, public administration, network organizations, and others. Thank you very much for this. So we can now also open the second question, and the second question will be open during the whole session. It is an open-ended question to give us the immediate reactions from the public to the presentations, and also tell us possible connections with the participants' experience and expertise. During the presentations, please feel free to react as much as you wish. We will come to your ideas, proposed developments, interactions, and assumptions later on, but all answers will be examined after this webinar, and the appropriate use will be made of them. Now I would like to invite Ms. Alba Irolo to take the floor. Alba is an art historian in charge of the Europeana platform research community. The floor is yours, Alba.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Irena. I have been invited here to bring a shared experience with the communities of practice we have at Europeana. As you may already know, Europeana is an initiative of the European Union that supports the cultural heritage sector in its digital transition, and it's composed of three pillars: the Europeana Foundation, which manages the Europeana platform as Europe digital platform for cultural heritage. Then there is the European Aggregators Forum, which concretely brings data from cultural heritage institutions to the Europeana platform. And finally, there is the Europeana Network Association, which counts approximately 4,000 members and is based on peer-to-peer knowledge sharing. It's within the Europeana Network Association that Europeana set up its communities in 2018, building on the experience gained with the very first Europeana community. This is a Europeana Tech, that is a point of reference for experts from the R&D sector. Currently, there are 7 Europeana communities. All of them, of course, share an interest in digital cultural heritage. Nevertheless, each community focuses on a specific area of interest: tech, climate change, copyright, impact, communication, education, and research. All the communities provide cultural heritage professionals, also new professionals, with a fertile ground for exchange of knowledge and experiences, and running workshops, task forces, even translation sprints, and co-organizing events. But two communities, education and research, by their nature, also bring together professionals that don't work in the cultural heritage sector in the strict sense, but are interested in the reuse of digital cultural heritage for teaching and research purposes. I'll focus on the European research community as an example of how to build a community of practice for and with users, an objective which has become even more relevant within the European ecosystem since Europeana started playing the role of steward to the common European data space for cultural heritage, a new initiative of the European Union that started in September 2022. The European Research Community is the largest community within the European Network Association and currently is composed of 2,750 members, 1/3 from the cultural heritage sector, 2/3 from academia and research. And since we are talking about cultural heritage data, so text, images, audiovisual content, TD, academics and researchers are mainly from the social sciences and humanities area, proving an increasing curiosity in computational approaches, especially when they are facilitated by digital tools. Our community, the research community, is also a kind of observatory to understand the user's need, the resources, tools, and training opportunities, and I stress training opportunities they would like Europeana to offer. In fostering the use of data, however, we could not limit our horizon to a community of users that already know Europeana, that already recognize the value of Europeana. We also bring Europeana data, resources, tools to environments where users and potential users are. And for this reason, we rely on partnerships and collaborations with research infrastructures, such as Clarion, the research infrastructure for language, resources, and technology, and Daria, the digital infrastructure for the arts and humanities. Both of them run platforms specifically designed for academic research purposes, the Clarion Virtual Language Observatory and Daria Campus. Both of them are part of the consortium that develops the SSH Open Marketplace as a gateway to the European Open Science Cloud. And finally, a less evident but not less important strength of this infrastructure lies in their national nodes. And this gives me the opportunity to conclude underlying that the big challenge for all of us contributing to European initiative is to overcome an obstacle that exists between potential users and us. And if this obstacle is the language we use, mainly English, the way forward is multilingualism and being visible with the communities and through the communities of practice at national levels, possibly speaking all the languages of the European Union. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alba. It was very interesting, and I'm sure that the European community is very strong and will be also involved in the cloud. Now I will invite Professor Eero Hivonen from Finland to present his short video. Mr. Hivonen is a professor of semantic media technology at the Aalto University, and he's also directing the Semantic Computing Research Group. Please, the floor is yours. We can't hear you, Professor. Could you please activate the video?
In this speech, I present a model for creating a collaborative linked open data infrastructure for digital humanities and report promising experiences of applying it in practice in Finland. I am Eero Hyvänen from Aalto University and University of Helsinki, Helsinki Center for Digital Humanities, HELDIC. Leonardo da Vinci has said, learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. This wisdom is very true regarding both national and pan-European cultural heritage contents and the planned European collaborative cloud for cultural heritage. However, cultural content linkedness gives us two major problems to tackle. The first key problem is that cultural heritage contents are richly interlinked, not only on a national scale, but across the borders of European countries and beyond. We all share common history and cultural background. For example, a book or epic may be the source of inspiration for a symphony, a painting, and is related to biographies of people, cultural sites, objects in museums, and so on. The cultural content includes texts, speeches, images, 2D and 3D models, movies, and animations represented in incompatible formats using different national data models and using different natural languages. The second key problem is that cultural heritage content creation is distributed in different kinds of organizations, including not only memory organizations, but also media companies, land survey organizations, communities producing data such as Wikipedias, as linked data clouds, and different citizens participating in citizen science initiatives. When independent parties create content independently from each other, the result is an avalanche of data silos that do not speak with each other. A painful lesson learned in creating pan-European services such as Europeana is that it is very difficult to make the data silos interoperable and reusable. A solution model to address the two previous key problems is depicted in this figure. The idea is to establish a shared data and ontology infrastructure based on linked data. When a content provider creates a piece of content using the shared infrastructure, the data is automatically interlinked and enriched by the other data provider's data, and their data by the new piece of content. In this model, everybody can win, both content providers and the end users, by getting access to the enriched interlinked data. The European Cultural Heritage Cloud could be a platform for fostering this work. This image illustrates some essential elements needed for a linked data-based cultural heritage cloud. Shared ontologies and data models are needed as semantic glue that binds the contents together. Datasets and data services enrich the contents by multiple interlinking and for applications created by public organizations and creative industries. The technology is based on standards and best practices of the World Wide Web Consortium and other international standardization bodies. By sharing software tools, unnecessary redundant development work can be avoided. An important part of the model is developing a human infrastructure for the new collaborative model for producing, publishing, and using cultural heritage linked data. During the last 10 years, we have developed and used the Sampo model in Finland for creating a series of linked open data services and semantic portals on top of them. The name Sampo refers to the mythical artifact of the Finnish epic Kalevala that gives its owner riches and good fortune. It is usually seen as a metaphor of amazing ancient technology. The Sampo systems have in some cases had millions of users on the web, suggesting feasibility of the proposed approach. As linked data semantics are domain agnostic, the model can be used in various application domains. For example, Culture Sampo is about artifacts in museums, interlinked with a variety of tangible and intangible cultural heritage, including the epic Kalevala. Book Sampo is about Finnish fiction literature. War Sampo is about Second World War history. Biography Sampo is about biographies, and Name Sampo about historical places in Finland. MMM Sampo is about medieval manuscripts, and Find Sampo about archaeological finds. Letter Sampo is about epistolary data, Parliament Sampo about parliamentary discussions and networks of politicians, and Law Sampo about Finnish legislation and case law. Thank you for listening.
Presentation. Thank you very much, and thank you for being with us. Now it's time for the last presentation by Mr. Peter Plasmeyer. Peter has headed the Mathematics and Physics Salon of the Dresden State Art Collections for more than 20 years. And he's with us with two persons from German museums. So we invite Peter and his colleagues to make their presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? I can't see if I...
Yes.
Okay.
We can.
Thank you very much, Irina. I want to give you 3 examples why museums need a collaboration cloud and working space under European jurisdiction and user-driven. This platform has to be a permanent working platform. It isn't a project to publish results, and it isn't a research project. It's an infrastructure. With me in my team are Cora Vermel, curator of East Asian porcelain, and Martin Zawadzki, the digital strategy officer of the Dresden State Art Collections, and unfortunately, Fanny Storio, the director of a very small museum in Waldenburg, is not able to attend our meeting today. She has to attend a shortly announced meeting running parallel. My first example is a project to catalogue more than 80,000 East Asian porcelain objects of the Dresden Porcelain Collection. This research project started in 2014, and experts distributed all over Europe, East Asia, and the US worked on identifying and cataloging the objects and contributed scholarly essays. The base for this work, as you can see on the image on the right, are 2 historical inventories from the 18th century. With the very beginning of this project, there are practical problems. So for one problem is that we need direct exchange of large data amount, and it was not possible to do it was not possible to do on the limited server resources we had. It depends on the multi-high resolution views of the objects. external experts had neither access to our database system nor access to our asset management system. That makes it very hard to calibrate in a positive way to get results. And external experts had to be integrated into digital project workflows while not being member of our own staff, museum's staff. To create content, the creation of content had to be integrated into our own systems, which was highly time consuming and expensive. As a substitute, a specific digital solution could be developed with high efforts by using workarounds or semi-automatic procedures. We can give a lot of more research examples of similar research projects involving colleagues from all over Europe. But my second example shows you a small museum with only a few employees. It's the Museum Waldenburg in the western part of Germany. It's a cabinet of naturalia and human objects, and it was founded in the 18th century. With only 1.5 employees, easy collaboration with other museums and scholars in Europe and abroad is essential for research. This museum has several objects from James Cook's journeys, and sometimes they are the oldest known objects in that case. And to get information, it is necessary to work together in a network with a network of scholars. And my third example is the collaboration cloud and working space gave us a chance in multilingualism. And there is a need for it. We all know the many different languages we are using in Europe. And there is a need for a multilingual database. Multilingualism is a part of accessibility. And to raise acceptance, ECCH should be fully multilingual. User interfaces as well as the content we will publish. It should be easy to change between the different languages, and by using normalized data or automated translation, the translation should be facilitated. This is such a big challenge, and it's not possible for a single museum, whether a small one nor one of the big ships, to realize it. And for that, we need such a platform. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Peter, for this presentation and the 3 examples that you have just given us. They highlight the challenges ahead, but possible solutions as well. Could you see the inputs from the audience? We have very little time left, but it is absolutely crucial that we see what was the input from the audience. A permanent platform is essential. somebody says that the cloud is not only for museums. There is also a question about the synergies between the European data space for cultural heritage and the cloud. Once again, that this is not only for museums. There is a strong emphasis so far on museums. We should look wider, also on CCIs and cultural heritage practitioners, all practitioners. Yeah, it's true that the platform can be also barrier-free, and Peter has highlighted the accessibility of the platform, not only in terms of languages, diversity of languages used in Europe, but I think that there are also some other issues with accessibility. It is not clear how to be part of the collaborative platform. Yes, it's a very valid remark. We have to work on this. Thank you very much. Yes, libraries, archives, promising, inspiring. Thank you. So I think that we have even more multilingualists. How will national initiatives be included? So this is definitely a question that needs an answer by our experts, and also the question about the copyright and other legal restrictions. So yes, somebody says that it feels that the cloud is object of various fantasies. It seems the scope and audiences varies a lot according to the speakers and their level of involvement. Certainly, this is very human that this varies, but I think that we need to set up this community of practice, and precisely the community of practice should be voluntary and maybe also self-driven. Good presentations, however, the perspective mainly relevant for museums. Also, private sector has a lot of digitization and domain specificities and practices. Will small institutions be able to get money? Interesting question. Does Europeana have a digital repository that it manages itself? I hope that Alba will answer this question later on. Unfortunately, we do not have time for the answers right now, so I have to close this session. But I would say very briefly, because we have to switch to the plenary, that our session shows that we have the three elements of a community of practice. So it means a domain, an area of shared interest that goes beyond museums, and this is very encouraging. We have a shared body of knowledge, experiences, and techniques. And we have a potential of a self-selected group of individuals who care enough about the topic to participate in regular interactions, and we have to work on these possible interactions. So I think that the community, if I read correctly the comments, agrees on continuous learning, facilitating the adoption of new methods and techniques. I will think about more conclusions. I take also from the presentation by Eero that we need absolutely, in general, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable data. And I will finish with this. Thank you very much for your participation. I look forward to meet you in the plenary. Thank you.